Welcome back to Mystify Me, where we dive into the world of the unexplained, uncovering mysteries that send chills down your spine. If you enjoy eerie stories like this, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps us keep exploring the unknown. Now let's dive into today's unsettling mystery, the tale of the Midnight Caller. Our story takes place in a small, unassuming town, one of those places you wouldn't expect to harbor dark secrets. Nestled between rolling hills and forests that seemed to stretch on forever, it was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. The town was a picture of serenity, where doors were left unlocked and families gathered at the diner on Sunday mornings. It was idyllic, but that peaceful facade shattered one summer when something truly disturbing began to unfold. It started with a single missing person. One evening, without any prior signs or warnings, a local resident, a well-liked teacher, vanished. Friends and family were baffled. They searched tirelessly, combing through the woods, checking every back road, and calling in all possible favors. Yet, days turned into weeks with no word, no clues, and no sightings. It was as though she had vanished into thin air. For a while, the town tried to move forward, though whispers lingered. People wondered, where could she have gone? Was it foul play, or did she leave voluntarily? These were questions with no answers, but life continued as best as it could. Then, just as the town was beginning to heal from this initial shock, a second person disappeared. This time, it was a young man barely out of high school with his whole life ahead of him. Again, no trace. It was like a horrifying echo of the first case, and soon after that, more people began to vanish. The town was thrust into chaos. Families were devastated, with loved ones disappearing without so much as a clue. Investigators poured into the town, searching for any signs, any leads that might break the case. Law enforcement, once seen only patrolling for minor infractions, was now scouring the area day and night. They interviewed every resident, retraced every step, but no matter what they did, they came up empty-handed. At first, these disappearances seemed unconnected, a series of tragic, isolated incidents. But as the pattern emerged, it became clear that something far more sinister was at play. The victims shared no clear connection, no common age, gender, or background. They were vanishing without warning, leaving behind no clues. And yet, there was one eerie commonality, the place where they were last seen. In each case, it was always near the edge of town, close to the woods that bordered the community. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, a sense of dread began to envelop the town. People locked their doors, curfews were enforced, and fear hung in the air like a thick fog. The disappearances weren't stopping, and the lack of answers was maddening. Then something even stranger began to happen. It started with hushed whispers. A few residents, at first dismissed as overly anxious, claimed to hear voices in the dead of night. These were not ordinary voices. They came at the stroke of midnight and seemed to be calling out, barely more than a whisper, yet unmistakable. Some said the voices were calling names, the names of those who had disappeared. At first, these reports were brushed aside. After all, fear can play tricks on the mind. But as the voices persisted, more and more people began to report hearing them, always at midnight, always near the spots where the missing were last seen. The sounds were faint, like distant echoes, but they chilled the blood of those who heard them. Some described them as sorrowful cries, others as ominous whispers, but all agreed that they seemed to be coming from the woods, the very woods that had now become a symbol of terror. The rumors spread like wildfire. The town was gripped by panic. People avoided going out at night. Some residents even packed up and left, unable to bear the constant fear that had taken hold of their lives. Those who stayed were on edge, waiting for the next disappearance, waiting for the next voice in the night. As the phenomenon continued, the voices were soon given a name: the Midnight Caller. The town couldn't escape it. Every night, as the clock struck 12, the eerie whispers would return, as if the missing were trying to communicate from beyond the grave. Investigators who had initially dismissed the claims as superstition now found themselves paying closer attention. They set up listening devices and surveillance in the areas where the voices were most often heard, but the Midnight Caller eluded detection. Every recording was either blank or filled with nothing more than static. Whatever was happening, it couldn't be explained by conventional means. Theories abounded. Was this the work of the supernatural? Were the voices those of the lost, trapped in some otherworldly limbo, calling out for help? Or was this something far more sinister, some malevolent force that thrived in the shadows, preying on the town's growing fear? Some believed the Midnight Caller was trying to guide investigators to the missing, that these disembodied voices held the key to solving the mystery, but others feared the voices were a trap, luring more people into the unknown. The debate raged on, and as the mystery deepened, so did the town's terror. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the disappearances stopped. No more names were called out at midnight. The eerie voices faded away. But the town was left with scars that would never heal. The Midnight Caller had left its mark, and the mystery of those who vanished remained unsolved. The woods, once a place for weekend hikes and family picnics, were now avoided, a reminder of the terror that had gripped the town for so long. To this day, no one knows for sure what happened in that small town. Theories persist. Some say the Midnight Caller was a malevolent spirit, others claim it was some kind of elaborate hoax. But for the families of the missing, the mystery remains personal, a wound that never fully healed. What could have caused those chilling midnight whispers? Were they truly the cries of the lost, trying to guide investigators to the truth? Or was something darker and far more sinister at play, feeding on the fear of the townspeople? One thing is certain. The Midnight Caller may have fallen silent, but its presence lingers in the minds of all who experienced its terror. If this story sent a shiver down your spine, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Mystify Me, and let us know your theories about the Midnight Caller in the comments. Do you think the voices were a message from the beyond, or something far darker? We want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more mysterious stories.